All right, everyone. Episode 7 here, Sportsbook Sports, all things sports betting. I'm your host, Conor, with my boy here, GA.
Welcome to another episode.
Yes, sir. Happy to be back. Back-to-back days here. It's like a double header for us. Feels good keeping this flowing. Tonight we got a good topic on the board as far as I think, with
for sure.
Discussing some of the sports books that we've been to in New York State.
Yep.
And we're going to do our little bit of a ranking for those three.
Yeah, we'll talk about each one, what we like, what we don't like.
Yeah, we'll give a little analysis for each one of those and discuss, like you said, what we think are the pros and cons of those areas. Also, we'll give you our picks for the NBA matchup tonight and the NHL matchup.
Yeah, it's getting a little thin for basketball, so we threw an NHL game in there.
Yeah, it's getting thin for all sports, honestly.
Yeah,
like
true.
It's getting to that point where soon it's just going to be like
baseball season.
And that's it. And then, we'll be counting down the days to the NFL starts back up.
Yep.
And then we'll also recap our bets in between that time of last night's episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, I think we should just hop right into it.
Okay.
And we'll discuss, the three sports books that we're going to have on our plate today that we've both experienced. Our Resorts World Sportsbook, which is Resorts World Catskill, located in Monticello, New York.
Yep.
We'll discuss Rivers Casino, which is up in Schenectady, New York. And then Turning Stone Casino, which is up in Verona, New York. Each one of those sports books have a little bit different layout. Resorts is powered by Bet365.
Yep.
So they offer the Bet365 lines. Rivers has actually their own platform, so they're powered by the Rivers Gaming.
Mm-hmm.
And then Turning Stone's actually partnered with Caesars.
Yep.
So their sports books is a Caesars-sponsored casino sports book. But yeah, I mean, if you want to give a little bit of your input from what you've seen from each of those.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously we're not going to talk about like drive time and distance because that's relative to where you are.
Yep.
So, Turning Stone's the one we've been going to the longest. It was around before any of this stuff started happening in New York and the rest of the country with gambling and casinos and all that stuff. So if you're not familiar with New York State for a while, it was just Indian reservations. We went to Turning Stone growing up, 18 and stuff, all the way through high school and college. And, so that one always has kind of, a little bit sentimental values. First real casino I walked through. And, I mean, I don't know if we want to talk about the casino as a whole or just the sports book. But, the casino, there's table games, there's slots, there's kind of really everything that you would expect at a casino there.
Yeah.
Sportsbook is kind of located outside of the casino a little bit, kind of in the entrance if you're coming from the parking garage.
Yep.
And they did a good job with it. It was kind of just always an open space for different events or different things that they had going on, and they converted it all. They have a huge wall of TVs, so there's always games going on, some comfortable chairs to sit in.
Yep. Little bar
area on one side, and then I would say, what do you think the seating is there? Like 20 people, maybe?
Yeah, I'd say probably
it's not a ton.
Max capacity is probably 30 at most. I'd say.
There's a sports like a live spot to put in. There's tellers there to put in live, bets if you want to talk to someone about it.
Yep.
And then there's, I would say, maybe 10 kiosks there as well.
If that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's I was gonna say at most
I think
10.
I think there's 8 on one side, maybe 2 on the other, or something like that.
Yeah, and I was gonna say if that even. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's a smaller one. Yeah, for sure. I think
might be the smallest of the three.
Yeah, either them or Rivers.
Them and Rivers are close.
But Turning Stone, just as you said, it's got a soft spot in my heart as well because that's the casino I grew up on. I went to college up in that area.
Yeah.
But there's, as far as the sports book itself, it's got a good feel to it. Like you said, there's multiple TVs.
It's powered by Caesars.
So there are a little bit more options when it comes to betting. besides the restrictions that New York's put on it, which we spoke about in past episodes.
Yep. Again, it's just that goes for any sports book in New York. So it's not like one casino is going to have MVP voting or MVP winners and stuff.
Yeah, they're just regulated and not allowed to offer that.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like the location of it.
Yeah, like I said, it's a little kind of like outside the casino a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's just people coming and going.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that because I honestly couldn't remember what was there before they put that there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was like a restaurant or a bar. I
don't think so. I think they built that all out. I think it was just like open space with like tables and...
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I honestly couldn't picture it before it when I saw it last time.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember what it looked like. But overall, as a sports book, I mean, they obviously have food. There's a bar right there. It's very convenient.
Yeah.
I think a negative to it is on, a packed day, you're probably not going to have a seat.
Yeah.
For one, like football Sunday, if they have
Can't imagine.
Yeah, if there's a good slate of games, you're obviously just not going to have the accessibility to find a seat unless you rent them, which I'm sure they offer. I believe they do. But to me personally, it's just not, and we'll obviously dive into the other ones, but I'm not the most fond of it.
To me, I feel like talking about the all three, and we'll get into all three of them, is just, to me, it feels the most like disconnected from the casino.
Exactly.
Like when I'm at the Sportsbook, I like Rivers. I think that's the one that's the closest to the casino floor, right on the casino floor.
Yeah, and Resorts is too.
Resorts is too, but then again, Resorts is still kind of back a little bit away from some stuff. So I like being in the mix. I like feeling like I'm at the casino when I'm at the Sportsbook.
Exactly.
And Rivers Turning Stone, I feel like it's just like disconnected. Like you're out there. You have the tall glass windows there, so it's like in the daytime it's completely bright. Like it's daytime lighting.
I want it to be like
there's not like people going crazy at the roulette table or the
exactly. I want it to be like
that around here.
I want it to be like entertainment. So I want it to feel like I'm in my man cave, or I'm at like a movie theater or sports bar watching the game. Like you said, you got those big ass glass windows right behind it, and that just like brings in a vibe of like it could be daytime, it could be nighttime. You know what it is when you're there, but when you go into the casino, you don't know what time it is.
Right, you're in the casino.
Yeah, you're so disconnected though. I agree from like the whole environment.
It's right by the elevator or the escalator. So it's like people are just gonna be coming and going all day.
Yeah, you're gonna see a lot of traffic walking in and out of it.
Yeah,
and it's not the best vibe that you can have at a sportsbook. I don't know if it was their plan, like when they watched it, to sort of like get a feel for it and see how many people they would be having traveling there.
Yep.
And then sort of maybe design one for the future.
Yeah, because then if you go back, like last time we were there, we were walking through, because it's been a while since I've been there, so we were just kind of walking around seeing all the different stuff that's there, and they added in a ton of stuff for me when I think of the casino, like in the back. Like there's the wine and bar room, there's obviously the club there. I think that's Lava that's always been there.
Yeah.
But then even in the back more now, there's like that comedy club and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which was all closed when we were there, and to me that's new. I don't know how long that's been there.
Nah, a lot of that stuff's been there, but I agree. Like when you go back by
they didn't convert any of that to Sportsbook.
And they could have done it in the regular casino.
Yeah.
Like back by where the poker room is, if you guys are familiar with Turnstone.
Yeah.
There's a huge poker room that's connected to the casino. They could have figured out something back there that makes that feel that you're talking about, where you're still intertwined with the casino floor.
Yeah.
But you have your own section to watch.
I thought that's where it was going to be, because I thought it was going to be in the back where all those slots are. There's like the second section of the high limit slots, like all the way on the back wall.
Yeah, there's a bar back there.
And the bar back there, and there's just a couple other spots. So like I thought that's where it was going to be. I was surprised to see where it was. I guess it kind of makes sense because it's probably the cheapest and easiest to build out, and you don't have to relocate a bunch of stuff.
Exactly.
And it's nice. Like everything, all these things are brand new, so it's all well done.
Yeah, it's all modernized.
It's just small, and it's just in a weird spot.
Definitely. And that's where I'm sort of going to segue into the next one that I would talk about as we move south from Turnstone, which is Rivers Casino.
Okay. So we're going to rank them at the end, because I'm interested in what you're ranking.
Yeah, I'm going to rank them at the end. I'm just going to sort of, like you said, give my analysis, and then I'll give my top three.
Okay.
Rivers, though, I think they did a good job of
You're
it.
in Schenectady. You're in the capital region, so you're going to get a lot more people there compared to where Turning Stone is.
Yeah, you'll get a lot more traffic. This one as well is smaller. It's on the smaller side.
For
sure. But one thing I do like about Rivers, besides the layout, which they have a nice bar right there, you can order food. When pre-COVID, they did have a good amount of couches.
Yeah.
You know, they
did some good seating.
They could probably fit a good 50 to 60 people.
50 to 60, yeah.
But what I really like, and I didn't really speak on Turning Stone that much, but I do like the bets that Rivers Casino, Rivers Gaming offers. There's a lot more just different variables to betting. Like, they don't have at Rivers, they have the ability to move points. If you want to buy points, you can get teaser cards. You can do all this extra stuff that New York allows, and Rivers is trying to give it to their clients. Caesars didn't really have that.
No.
You know, you bet the simple stuff. You bet the spread, the total, a first half bet, and then that was it. Rivers has the ability to play player props. You can do. They just have a lot more options when it comes to betting. Strictly is what I'm trying to get at. And then the layout itself, though, I do like. There's a ton of TVs. You got how many kiosks? 15 to 20.
Yeah,
I would say.
There's 2 rows of them.
You never need to wait there.
Yeah, you never need to wait. Sometimes on a college football Saturday, there's a line.
There will be,
but the line moves because there's so many kiosks.
Exactly,
and there's someone there directing people.
Exactly,
stuff.
They do a good job with
nice.
that.
Yeah,
and if you get there, agreed. If you get there. What is college football?
1 o'clock, 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock?
Yeah.
If you get there at 11:30, there's going to be a little bit of a line, but you'll be in that. You'll be making your bets within 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, and then again, the position of it, I like it. I think it's probably the best position one because it has that big bar on the side that kind of half of it's in the casino, half of it's in the sports book.
Yep.
You can walk right from the sports book right into the casino floor.
Yep.
Whereas like in Turning Stone, you have to walk a little bit.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, as far as like when you're looking at the layout of it, is Rivers is like a small casino in general.
Yeah, Rivers is
so you could walk into either entrance of the casino and you can see the sports book.
Yep.
And then if you're watching a game and you're like, I want to run over to the blackjack table quick or the roulette table.
Yep.
It's a 5-second walk to get over there.
Yeah, what I like too is just the way they have their TVs like laid out, and they also have like the big sports ticker,
thing
on top. You can see that from pretty much anywhere on the casino floor.
Yep.
So you can, depending on probably half of the casino floor, you can actually see the TVs through everything because of the way they're positioned. And then no matter where you are on the floor, the casino, you can usually see the sports ticker, which is nice. Just while you're doing whatever you're doing, like you said, blackjack, roulette, slots, whatever else it is.
Caesars does have a ticker, but you're not. It's
Can't
either you're watching the games or you're not.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean.
It has a ticker, but it's like I'm sitting. You're either sitting at the sportsbook watching the games, so you don't really need the ticker.
Exactly.
It's not like they have tickers like throughout. At least I didn't see like tickers like throughout, like the casino that had different lines and stuff like that. Stuff was updating. No,
and that's to your point, like being able to see that ticker while you're walking through the casino, and you can just check up at the score.
Yeah.
Makes it a whole lot better. And then, honestly, moving on to resorts now, they have the same thing.
Rivers, real quick before we split up, though, I do like Rivers because on like the opposite side of the casino of the sports book, there's another bar and like a steakhouse, like a restaurant or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then they have TVs up there.
Exactly.
So it's like even if you're not near the sports book, you're on the kind of the other side, which again is a small casino, so it's really not that big a deal.
Yeah.
But there's just TVs over there too, and they always have the college football games on. There's like 4 or 5.
Exactly.
So they have everything up over there. So I do like that. That to me it feels like resorts or Rivers is a little bit more like thought about it, kind of integrated more than Turning Stone was. There's not like TVs on the Turning Stone floor where you can like watch the game and stuff.
And I was going to say, I think to their credit, I think when they built their casino, they knew sports betting was coming and they sort of built that out to know that it was eventually going to move into that. But as I move into Resorts World, they have the huge ticker too.
Yeah, and they have the biggest setup of anyone.
Yeah, I think their layout and what they have available as far as comfortability.
Yes. Because they have a whole section dedicated to it, and it's like they have like
a huge
2
bar.
levels of it. So they have a huge bar where you can get food, you can get drinks, like 30 TVs and like this 360 thing above the bar.
Exactly.
So no matter where you're sitting, you can see the TVs. Yep. There's a wall of big ass TVs, so you can see those.
It's connected to the casino.
They
have one thing that they have that the others don't is they have kiosks throughout the whole casino.
Yeah, that's true too.
You can make a sports bet on the other side by like the high limit slots. They have them all over the place, and that's one that. They're the only one that does of the 3 that I've been to.
Have the kiosk throughout the
mobile
floor.
Throughout the gambling floor.
Yeah.
But their layout and their comfortability is hands down, I would say, the best of the 3.
For sure.
Their cons, I think, are just they have mobile kiosks throughout the whole casino, but there's not a ton of them.
Yep.
You normally don't have to wait for a bet there, but as what I spoke about with Rivers is Rivers having accessibility to a ton of bets.
Yep.
Resorts just doesn't have that.
Yeah, I would say that Rivers definitely has the best like lines and different types of bets that you could put in.
Exactly. So it's just I think Resorts they definitely have a nice structure there. Yeah, Bet 365 just needs to get with the program a little bit, truthfully.
That's for sure. And I mean they have a nice like Rivers is kind of like this like shotgun style like kiosk where they have like maybe 8 or 10 in a row on one side and then 8 and a 10 in a row. So when you're putting your bets, you're like kind of all on top of each other. Mm-hmm. I like Resorts because it's like that semicircle shape. To their bar, so it's like you have again.
They have like 3 like staggered though.
Yeah, exactly, and it's like you're spaced out a little bit.
Exactly.
And I also do like again, like I was saying, like they have so many TVs and it's so open that they have like maybe again like spot for like 30 people, maybe 35 people to sit up in the bar area.
Yep.
Maybe even more if you're standing. You could probably fit like 50 people in there if it's packed. I mean, pre-COVID, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen this year? But then also it's so big that they have a bunch of seating right outside, still in that semicircular pattern, and they have another 15, 20 spots to sit down.
Yeah.
So it's nice. It's definitely, it's tough to rank them in my mind because there's one that I like the most for the bets, and there's one that I like the most for like sitting down and watching the games.
Yeah, so like it's 100%. We are on the same vision with that because I would take Resorts World layout. Yeah, and if I could put Rivers bets there,
for sure,
it'd be the best casino, hands down.
Yeah,
my ranking though, and it's sort of because, and I guess it depends on the weekend.
Okay.
Obviously, Turning Stone's third.
Yep.
Just because it's so tight. Like it's not a vibe of going to the Sportsbook. It's also 2 hours away. So
which we're not taking that into account. We're not taking that into account.
But you're right. If I'm not putting that into it, because that makes sense. But
to me, it's just the most. To me, it's a kind of like an afterthought. That's why I put it third in my rank.
Well, it's just the most basic. I think.
It's very basic.
It's just like all right. I think of a Sportsbook. They have everything you need, but they don't have anything that stands out.
Yep.
For me, though, second, I would take Rivers.
Yep.
Because if I'm going to the Sportsbook, I normally like to place my bet. I know what my bet is going into it.
Yep.
And 90% of the time, Resorts has it.
Yep.
And their layout is just better, and it gives me more of a comfort feel if I'm going to be there watching the game. They have good food. I can get drinks. I can go to the high-limit slots room. It's all right there, just like Rivers is.
Yep.
But just being able to just relax and not be in such an uptight scenario, I think that's what makes me not like Rivers as much. So I'd go Rivers 2, Resorts 1.
Yep, I'm in the same boat with you. Like if I'm going to go sit down for a whole Sunday, watch a slate of games, or Saturday and watch a slate of football games, I'm going Resorts World for the day.
Exactly.
And I just know that, there might not be as many bets that I can put in.
Yep.
But the bets that I can put in are enough to get me by. I think it's the biggest, it's the nicest layout, it's the most comfortable.
To your point there.
Yeah.
if I was going for the Sunday, which I normally like to do, or Saturday if it's college basketball, and I'm going to go there and watch the games, I'm going to Resorts World.
For sure.
If I want to just go put bets in quick and then head home and watch the games at the crib, I'm going to go to Rivers probably.
Yep.
But I feel like if we're just ranking the best sports book, I think overall the package is at Resorts. Now, Bet365, if you're hearing this podcast right now, step your shit up with the offerings. Because you guys, the lines normally, though, are competitive.
Some more lines. They
but
are
more bets.
More bets. Different types of bets.
Because y'all are slacking with that shit. You guys need to you need to be able to buy points. You need to be able to get player props. You need to be able to bet first quarters, half times, third quarters, fourth quarters, whatever someone wants to bet. And then also you're trash with live betting. Rivers is one of the best live betting platforms I've seen. But Resorts, your shit's fucking terrible. Straight up. So if you guys can pack it on with that, I think you'd bring in a lot more business. Maybe not because of where you're located. But that's going to translate more to when we get this mobile shit in New York. You guys are going to need that to be able to compete with fucking our boys over at FanDuel
for sure,
and all these other ones that really like give their customers the better situation to be in.
That's why I'm trying to think of it like if I'm going to go sit down for a whole Sunday and watch games. I'm going to River.
If you're talking about the experience of a sports book, Resorts hands down has it.
Because even if you want to like go get food at the restaurant that's over there, you go sit down at the restaurant, there's just TVs everywhere.
At Resort,
there's like at Turning Stone, I don't know if that's the case.
No. Resorts, there's like one or two of the fancier restaurants that don't have TVs.
That's true. Well,
But if you go to the bar,
we're common man people.
If you go to the bar that's right by the entrance, there's TVs all over the place. It's just it's a great
kiosk
setup
throughout the place. So if you're out doing other stuff, if you're over at the blackjack table, and
the only negative, as we mentioned, is their betting options. Which isn't. They're not as bad because you can still bet the game. You can bet the total. You can bet half times. They just don't have as many options. And one thing I've even come to see, granted, in New York, you obviously can't bet on New York college teams. But at Resorts World, there just might not be a random game listed. I've ran into that a couple times, and I'm like, what's going on with that? And they just don't provide a line. So
which that's like you said, it's once in a while. It's not.
No, it's not that frequent.
Yeah,
but you don't see that other places, which is like I said, that's the only negative I have to Resorts World. Beautiful rooms, beautiful casino, beautiful views.
They're all great. I mean, what do you think about like location wise? Like if you're driving and not like the time it takes to get there, but easy of like getting like in and out.
I guess depending on where you're coming from, Schenectady though is probably the easiest because 9 times out of 10 you're gonna hop on the thruway. You get off the thruway, and then it's a 2-minute drive through Schenectady. And it's highways most of the way. To get to Resorts World,
it's a little tougher.
More or less where you're coming from, you're not taking the thruway. You're gonna have to take highways on the back roads. Turning Stone is very accessible.
It's right off that.
Right up the thruway, and then you literally see it on the thruway. So Turning Stone's probably the most accessible.
That's true.
Depending on where you're located,
to me, like I'd really do the vibe that I got from Turning Stone was just that like the whole sports book thing. Maybe it's just not a priority for them right now. Maybe with all like COVID and stuff like that, they're waiting to roll more stuff out. But the fact that there's just not kiosks throughout, the fact that like there's just not TVs with the games on, there's not tickers and stuff. It's like, I mean, I get that everyone's not a sports bettor, but there should be something.
Not everyone's a sports bettor, but every sports bettor is a gambler.
Exactly.
So if you bring those people into your casinos, they're going to be at the blackjack table. They're going to be playing roulette.
It's halftime of the game. Let's go hit the roulette table.
Let's go. Let's go play some money. Let's go spend some money. They're going to bring money into your casino.
If you're attracting gamblers, you're attracting spenders.
Exactly.
So
realistically, and then if they win money from you, they're going to probably give it back to you somehow. So you might as well keep them there.
So I mean, I'm ranking wise, just to get it down, I'm the same way. I'm Turning Stone last place, River second, and then Resorts World first.
I'm with you 100%. We'll eventually be doing a vlog of these. We're gonna stop into these casinos to get.
Yeah, we'll do an episode live.
We're there frequently anyway.
Yep.
Normally on like a weekly or bi-weekly basis. Yeah. But we're gonna start setting up some vlogs. We'll be doing some podcasts from there. Yeah. Just to give you guys a little bit better of an idea of what we're operating with here in New York. Yep. But I guess we can move on, do our recap quick of the picks for last night. Yep.
It was a tough night for me. It was a good night for you.
Yeah, decent night for me.
Yep, so I had the Hawks +6. That didn't cash. And then I had the Clippers to win, and that didn't cash. Yeah. So it was double loser for me, which happens. That's why we preach, just staying consistent with your bets. Yep.
And you did a half unit on the 2 win margins. If you would have hit one of those, though, you would have been plus money. Yep. And they had a good chance at the end to cover it. So
yeah, it was a close game. It was a 3-point game. That's how you ended up pushing the Clippers bet. You had the Clippers +3. Yeah. And then you had beat over 35. I think you went for exactly 40.
Yeah, you had 40 on the button, so I hit that one. The crazy thing is about the Clippers game is if you shop the line a little bit, I got it at +3. Yeah. It moved up to +4 at one point. Okay. And then came down again to +3. So that's why we speak about shopping the lines big. If I would have got them at the 3.5 or 4, I cover. Yep. And I win that bet. But when I put it in, I got it at the 3. Yeah. And it was weird though because I didn't do a good job checking the opening line. Yep. Because originally when I saw it at 3.5. I saw it at 3.5. It went to 3. Then it came back up to 3.5. Then went to 4, and then came back down to 3. So when I originally saw it at 3.5 and it moved to 3, I was thinking like the reverse line movement. When it really, in theory, it wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. That's you gotta check that opening line. That can throw anyone off.
Yeah, and that's a huge factor when you're looking at these games because the line movement's gonna dictate it a little bit, and then you're gonna see where you lie.
Yeah, it's tough. I was watching the Hawks game last night, and I thought I was fine. And then the fourth quarter, they just couldn't do it.
Nah, they couldn't put it together.
It was tough. So,
did you see DeAndre Hunter's out for them? He tore his meniscus.
I didn't see that he tore his meniscus.
Yeah, he just got surgery done, so he's out for the rest of the playoffs. I think that's a tough piece to lose because he plays defense for them.
Yeah, he's that 3-and-D guy that you need if you're gonna make a run.
Yeah, he's a huge piece to them. So, but yeah, either way, I mean, overall we went 1, 2, and 1 for all 4 of our picks. Yeah. Or 1, 3, and 1 if you want to consider the win margins. Both separate bets, but that was a combined 1 unit. So overall wasn't a bad night. But as Greg mentioned, keeping your units the same and staying strict to your process is almost more important than winning the games themselves.
Yeah, it's funny too because in this at least on this podcast so far, we've just given out picks for basketball. Yep. So we obviously watch pretty much everything. I mean, I don't think there's anything we don't watch. Even some college baseball. I've been watching the World Series or wherever they got going on.
Just been exciting.
Yeah. We watch hockey, so we're going to be talking about a little hockey tonight. Yep. And then we talked about football futures, so we're going to talk about football coming up a little bit more, even though we're still a few months away from that. And then we've been talking baseball too. I mean, we talk off the podcast about baseball. I know you bet baseball pretty consistently. So maybe we'll get some of those games in there once this basketball stuff winds down. But I think it's just good not to throw too much at people right away.
Agreed.
I think some of these other stuff that I've been following, they just talk about every single sport, and it just can be too much.
Yeah, and I think it's what we said. We're not trying to put out garbage content where we're just throwing out picks left and right, which we did in the beginning. Yeah. And then we learned very quickly that it wasn't the best strategy because, for one, it didn't help our bankroll the couple of days we did it. Yep. And then, 2, we don't think it's giving you guys the best idea of how we operate.
You're just going to lose. If being 100% honest, if you try to bet 7 things a day, you're going to lose.
You're going to lose 100%. And that's why we're lock and loaded on 2 different matchups tonight. Yep. And I think that's sort of how we'll operate moving forward is we'll sort of, me and Greg obviously discuss it in the beginning of the day, who we like, what matchups we're looking at, and then we'll probably put those matchups out on the board just to give you an idea of what we're looking at. Yeah. And as we move into all these different sports, obviously basketball is going to wind down. NHL's still alive for a little bit of time. But then it's just going to be MLB. Yeah. Then we're just going to be talking about MLB for a little bit. We're going to have some preseason selections for the football. We'll talk a little bit about teams going into that. Yeah. But essentially what I'm trying to get at is we like to focus on select picks, so we're trying to give you the ones that we believe in the most. Yep. And if you've seen what we've done since we did that, we're positive money on both sides of the board. Yep. So as long as you keep following us, we're going to show you winners. That's what we do. Yep. But we're not looking to sell these, so don't go out there like our picks aren't fucking lock of the years. We're not promoting that shit like people do on Instagram. If we have something good,
we'll let you know. Don't get us wrong.
But you'll never see us say we bet one unit. The most we'll ever go is possibly like 3. Yep. But you'll never hear us say 100-unit game or 50-unit game. Like that shit's all bogus, and that's one thing I'm starting to hate about the industry itself. Yep. But I think we can just move right into
what we got for tonight.
Yep.
So tonight we got one basketball game, and we got the Phoenix Suns hosting the Denver Nuggets. Right, this game's in Phoenix, 9:30 TNT. Yep. Suns are up 1-0 right now, so they won the first game. It was a good game. I mean, both of these teams.
Suns played phenomenal.
Yeah,
like they.
I just don't know how to gauge both these teams.
Either do I, because, I guess what I can gauge about the Denver Nuggets is they are inconsistent as fuck. Yeah. They don't know if they want to be a defensive team or if they want to be an offensive team. So I think we can gauge that they're just as erratic as they're showing.
Yeah, and it's just to me it's just like all over the place. Like, is Michael Porter Jr. the number 2 guy? Is he not the number 2 guy? Is Austin Rivers stepping up? Is Austin Rivers going for 6 points? Yeah. Like,
I mean, one thing we can say is Jokic is going to ball.
He's a real deal.
He's going to ball. Yep. I mean, Aaron Gordon came out and played a decent game last game. Yeah. Monte Morris did not shoot the ball well, but he's a good playmaker off the bench. Yeah. One thing I'll say from just watching the Suns this playoffs is fucking
Ayton's the real deal.
DeAndre Ayton.
He's the number 1 pick for a reason.
He's an animal, man. Yeah. And he ain't even like...
Chris Paul somehow is kicking Father Time's ass.
Yep.
I don't know how he's still doing it. It's going to catch up to him probably.
It will. Yeah. Maybe not, though, because the reason he's good on this team is he's not the sole focus.
Right.
Like, defenses aren't like, we need to stop Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Nah, that's just not what the case is. Yeah, you got fucking Devin Booker out there who'll put 40 or 70 on your head at one night.
I mean, at one point we were looking at, I don't know if it was I think it was the Boston Nets series. We looked at I think you took like a half unit on the leading scorer for the game.
Yep.
And it was
Kevin Durant
or
Tatum.
Yeah. Like, what were the odds that Mikal Bridges is the leading scorer of this game? He had 23.
Yeah, he had to be like plus 1,000.
Yeah, if not more.
Their starting lineup is Chris Paul, option. Booker, Crowder, and Ayton.
Yeah,
and then him. Yeah, realistically, he's the 4th or 5th option.
He might be the 5th option, and then you have the whole other team, like Michael Porter Jr. and Jokic. Yeah. So like it's crazy. That's why I'm saying I don't know how to gauge either of these teams really. Like, I expect Booker to score 50 every night, and then he's coming out and he's passing the ball just as well as Chris Paul.
Yeah. Now he's one thing that I'll say I've seen him grow over his first couple of years in the league is just maturity and IQ. Yeah. He doesn't try to force too much. He takes tough shots sometimes. Yeah. But especially in this playoff series, throughout the playoffs in general this year, he's definitely looking to make the right play more than what he used to.
I mean, field goal attempts for the starting players on the Suns, 13, 12, 13, 14, 12.
And what did Devin Booker go, like 8 for 14 or something?
8 of 12.
8 of 12.
Chris Paul, 8 of 14, 8 and 9 of 13.
That's what I mean.
8 of 12, and then Crowder, the low one, 5 of 13. Like, just couldn't be more balanced.
Yeah. And it's normally, like, one thing I haven't liked about Chris Paul in the past is I've always said he dribbles too much.
Yeah.
He does a little bit on this team.
Yep.
But they move the ball.
Yeah.
Like, he makes a play, and then there's normally 3 or 4 passes after that, and then you just got, like, someone spotting up for a wide-open 3.
Yeah.
Or, like, DeAndre Ayton getting a
Just
dunk.
getting an easy layup or an easy dunk, yeah.
They look good, man.
Yeah,
I mean, the
they
Suns,
look tough.
The Suns look good. We'll get into our picks at the end of this because I have a couple on this one tonight.
Yep.
So I'm hoping to see where.
Yeah, I don't know if I said it, but Suns minus 5.5 at home. Over/under is 222.5.
Yep.
So, I mean, that would have hit last game.
What did
they've been scoring pretty
good.
Go
to the box score of this game, though.
Yeah.
What was the field goal percentage for the Suns?
Suns shot at 54%.
And 3?
38 from 3.
Not bad. 54%, though, is good for, playoff series.
I mean, compared to the Nuggets, they were 46% from the field, 35% from 3, so it was pretty close.
Yep.
The Nuggets had more attempts, and the Nuggets had more threes. More 3 attempts as well.
It's crazy.
So, yeah. Yeah, it was a pretty close game overall. I mean, if you look at the box score, really, it's like pretty dead even across the whole thing. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be another good game. Like I said, we'll talk about it a little more when we get into the actual picks. Because I thought I had a good beat on this, but then you kind of brought up something, so we'll definitely talk about that. The other matchup we're going to talk about tonight are the Bruins and the Islanders.
Yeah.
So we've obviously been watching this. We've obviously been following hockey across the board, but again, we're in New York following the Islanders. Would love if the Rangers were in it, but the Islanders are the team to beat in New York for the last couple of years.
Yep.
I mean, they have so many playoff games. I think they're the second highest at any team over the last 5 years, something like that.
Yep.
John Tavares leaves. You think it might be all over. He goes to, I think, the Maple Leafs. They stink every year, and I love it. And then the Islanders just somehow put it together. So the Islanders are hosting the Bruins. They're up 3-2. This is 7:30 on NBCSN.
Yeah.
And, the Islanders are up 3-2. They're trying to close out the series. They're in the Coliseum. It's the last season in the Coliseum. The Bruins' money line is minus 142. Over-under is 5.5 for goals scored. Again, this is all from FanDuel.
Mm-hmm.
And just one thing, again, if you're kind of a newer gambler, just to bring up for hockey, they pretty much just give out, most people bet the money line on the game. Yeah. And that's just who's going to win. So again, we talk about spreads in the NBA. There are spreads in hockey too. We'll talk about that when we kind of get into it. But really a lot of people in baseball maybe and in hockey, I see it the most, is you're just betting the money line day in and day out.
And it's because it's the spread is a little bit more difficult to gauge what is going to occur at the game. Like a basketball game, someone can win by 50 points.
Yeah, and there's so many points that you can give a spread of 5 or 6 and it's not a big deal. When in hockey, if it's 3-2, it's tough to give 1.5 goals.
Exactly.
That's like all the goals you score. Baseball, same thing. If it's 8-6.
Yeah, because there's not, and that's the same thing with baseball. There's just not enough
runs.
There's not enough wiggle room for Vegas to be like, all right, this spread is what it is, and this is what it is. I mean, the Islanders, though, to get into like the matchup specifically, I've followed them a lot this year, and I've bet the under in like 85% of the games that they've been in.
Yep,
and it's hit. But the reason I like them is they can also score.
Yeah,
so they play great defense. But they can also...
Their goalie's unreal.
Their goalie's nice. They have 2 goalies that are actually halfway decent.
Yeah.
And they just... I like any team in the playoffs when you can play defense.
Yeah, like I've been watching most of the games, but the last game, I was just like screaming at my TV in the first period, just watching the Bruins. I mean, it was shot after shot and good shot after good shot, like real attempts they were getting on the Islanders. And I was just like... Is this really going to be like the whole game?
Yeah.
And the Islanders were able to turn it around. They were able to get good opportunities. But that's how I kind of feel the whole series has been. That's why the Bruins are the favorite in this game, even though they're going to New York and even though they're in a closeout situation. I feel like the Bruins and the Islanders are similar styles.
Yep.
They're both bruisers. They're both going to beat you up. They're both going to, Bruins have been complaining about penalties, but chances are they're going to be both kind of riding that edge with some of the hits they're making, some of the plays they're making. So they're going to beat you up. They're going to try to wear you down.
Exactly.
Same thing with the Islanders. They're going to make you tired, especially at this point in the series. You're 6 games in, or you're going to be 6 games in tonight. You're 5 games in right now. So,
yeah, and they're trying to. I think the Islanders are trying to close out this series.
Yeah,
I think they're looking to get a little bit of a break. This will put them into the Stanley Cup, if I'm not mistaken.
They got one more round.
They do have one more round?
Yep.
Okay. So this is, they want to get this one, give themselves a little bit more rest and not have to go into like a crucial Game 7.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think they would have the winner of Tampa Bay.
That one's done, I think.
So they have Tampa Bay next, maybe?
Potentially. Let's take a look.
Yeah, because they have Colorado and Vegas going on right now.
Yeah.
Oh no, you might be right.
That's what I thought. I think it's just those 4: Colorado, Vegas, Boston, New York. Yeah, I think those are what's up are done right now.
Okay. So no, next series is Tampa Bay, and then the winner of Boston.
What did Tampa Bay just sweep?
Yeah, 4-1. Yeah, so they've been getting rest.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, it's gonna be tough.
Right.
And then it's the Canadiens against Vegas and Colorado, the winner of that. Which that's been a great series. I thought Colorado was gonna win it. I mean, it went to overtime, I'm pretty sure, last game. And then Vegas got the goal at the end to go up 3-2 in the series.
Yep.
So that's been good. But the Islanders and the Boston series, I think everyone knew it was going to go 6 or 7 games because, like I said, stylistically they're pretty similar. I think the Islanders had the Penguins in the first round, if I remember correctly. And they're a little bit more of a finesse team, so I think it was a little bit easier for the Islanders to kind of beat them up and bruise them up a little bit.
Exactly.
But yeah, I couldn't. The Islanders. The only thing that scares me about the Islanders is I think that Rask, the goalie for the Bruins, has been banged up.
Yeah,
and I think he hasn't been playing particularly well. I think that
they also have 2 defensive guys out tonight that got injured in Game 5.
Yep. So with a couple lower body injuries, but. The only thing that scares me is, like I was saying earlier, the Islanders have like a goalie. You said 2 goalies that are nice.
Yeah.
And like watching that first period, I was just like, how is this goalie not letting anything in?
Yeah.
And then you watch it like later in the game, and then he just lets like one after another after another.
Yeah.
The only thing that scares me too is they had a stat in the beginning of the game, which I didn't realize. As someone who just like watches kind of casually, I don't pick up on these things. But he I might be butchering the stat, but it's directionally correct. It's the right idea. It's I think he leads the league, at least maybe it's leagues the lead of goalies that made it to the playoffs, of allowing a goal in the first 5 minutes. he's the king.
He gives one up.
Yeah, he gives one up early. That it's okay, we got a game to play.
Yeah.
And the problem is in the playoffs, it's tough to consistently be down.
Yeah,
it's tough to consistently be trying to fight back every time.
Definitely, that makes
so
it
that's
going
to that's going to catch up to you at some point.
Yeah,
and then it goes okay, we let up one early. And sometimes I let up a few, so it's maybe they go down 2-0, 3-0 quick.
Yeah, 100%.
And then it's holy fuck, we got to score 5 to get back in this.
Yeah, that's what happened in Game 4, I think it was.
Yeah,
I took the Islanders and they were up. It was 1-1.
Yeah.
And then they scored 3 fucking goals in the last 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because I was thinking about taking the under in that game.
Game 4 or was it Game 5 where they pulled the goalie and they just kept scoring?
Yeah, it was Game 5.
And that was, like you said, it was 1-1. It was 1-1, and then all of a sudden the over-under, I think, was 5.5.
Yeah.
I think then
it moved to 5.
5, and then I
think
they pushed. They're pushing on it.
Yeah. It was crazy
with no time left.
Yeah, they scored the second goal with 3:30 to go, and I was game over.
Yeah,
they're not letting Boston
Nothing's gonna
score.
happen.
And then I just refreshed it 25 minutes later because I wasn't watching the game. I think one of the NBA games were on that night, and I look back on it, it was 4-1. I was like, what the fuck happened? They scored 3 goals in the last 4 minutes.
Yeah, and hockey's one of those sports. I don't know how you feel about it, but if it's playoff hockey, like if somehow they could bottle up playoff hockey all season long, I would watch it all season long.
Oh yeah,
like it's
the energy is ridiculous.
The energy, the way they're skating around, the way the refs swallow the whistle, just let them play.
Exactly.
I fucking love it, and like I don't know hockey well enough to know like the ins and outs and like the strategic play that each team's doing.
Yeah.
I just know when fucking people are getting hit and pucks are getting on net.
Exactly.
And it's just like all game long. So like I don't know. I mean
that's why
I love playoff hockey.
That's why like we were speaking before the podcast too. That's why that whole thing that Barstool's doing right now is just like amazing to watch. The unedited raw energy that the game creates in that atmosphere is just like second to none. It's hard to, you can't replace that, especially when you're that diehard of a fan.
Yeah, and I like it too because like they're obviously really tied in with Penn and like trying to get bets and stuff like that. So if you watch like the streams, they have like each person's like bets underneath their names in the bottom third and stuff like that. Nobody at the games cares about the bets. Like, they don't care at all about, like, oh, I took blah, blah, blah to score a goal at plus 145.
Yeah.
Like, they're just so focused on the game that they don't care if the over-under or whatever it is.
If they lost all their bets,
but
obviously,
their team won.
if their team won, they're probably, most of them are obviously
they
got some money
less.
sprinkled on their team, too. But, yeah, they would just want their team to win more than anything.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. That energy is just, like, second to none. You can't recreate that without that type of atmosphere.
Yeah, without the playoff hockey atmosphere.
Yeah, you just can't fake it.
All right, so we kind of recapped the other two. So let's get into tonight's picks. So again, just the two games, one NBA, one hockey. Yep. So for tonight to start, we talked about it earlier. I liked Phoenix going into this. Yep. When we sat down, we talked about it a little more. I'm a little less confident than I was earlier. Yep. But I'm going to take Chris Paul to score 15 or more points and the Phoenix Suns to win. Okay. And that's plus 150. We got a little thunder and lightning in the background.
Holy fuck, that was loud.
So, yeah, Chris Paul to score 15. Phoenix Suns to win outright. So what
That's
I like about
this, kaboom when you put that bet
in, which makes me even more confident now. I feel good about that.
I think that might be a fucking lock for everyone listening.
Clap if you heard that.
Put all your money on Chris Paul 15 plus and the Suns to win it.
I think
tonight.
him to score 20 and the Phoenix to win was like plus like 320. So I might look at that now after
what was it
from God. I think it was Chris Paul to score 20 or more and Phoenix to win. I think it was like plus 320.
Oh shit!
So he had 21. I mean, he's not a big scorer, so that's why I just took it at 15.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then what I like about it too is again, it's just Phoenix to win outright. No spread. You know, you don't have to worry about it. So I mean, they were obviously the underdog, or they were the favorite tonight. So if you took a money line, it would be, negative. I don't know what it was, but this way, when you add Chris Paul into it, it's kind of like a little bit of a parlay. You get it at plus 150.
Yeah, there's two parts of the game that need to occur for you to win it. So it is like a little bit of a parlay. I'm on the same game with you with that, but I'm fading you a little bit in the sense that I think the Nuggets can cover the 5. I don't know if they're necessarily going to win the game. I just see the game being close. And with that being said, I think Monte Morris is going to come out and play a pretty good offensive game. Last game, he was like 1 for 10 or 1 for 11 from the field. If they want to win in a game like this, they need production from like every which angle that they look at. So I got Monte Morris going over 12.5 points, plus 115. And then also the Nuggets plus 5, minus 110 unit on each of those.
Okay.
And I think with your bet, even though it's like we're on opposite spectrums, I think it's a good like potential for a middle here.
Yeah.
Because I think the Nuggets can play the best basketball game in the world and they still lose it because the Suns are just that good. Mm-hmm. So it's really like I'm leaning towards both sides, but I'm just with the Nuggets points because I've seen the reverse line movement. There's a couple other things I've been looking at in this game that just make me think they can come out and put it somewhat together tonight.
Yep. Yeah, and the first game really wasn't too close, so I think that the reason the spread being like 5 points or so makes me think like Vegas knows something.
Yeah.
It's going to be closer. It's not like 8 or 9.
And people are on the Suns. Like I said, the reverse line movement's there. I don't know if this is one of those games that, like you said, Vegas knows a little bit more about it.
Yeah, and like we talked about with the reverse line movement, it's not automatic. It doesn't mean it's going to hit.
No, it's my style though.
Yeah.
It's what I've lived by, and I try to stick to it as much as I can for sure.
Yeah, so the Islanders game, I have 2 bets for that, so I'm taking the over 5.5 goals.
Oh, okay.
You know, I think Rask is a little beat up. I'm not sure if he's starting tonight.
Yep.
Like I said, the Islanders goalie can give up goals. He usually gives up one early and can give them up in a hurry when he's not playing great. So I like the over 5.5 on that. I think it's going to be high scoring in the Coliseum. That's plus 130. And then so we talked about the money line for the game. The regular spread is Islanders plus 1.5.
Okay.
I think they're going to win, so I took an alternate line. So if you're on FanDuel, you can go to the Islanders games. You can scroll down to alternate lines. And I took the Islanders minus 1.5. So, again, they have to win by 2. And I'm getting them at plus 325.
Fuck.
So
that's some good value, though.
Yeah. So
I'm
again, if I hit one of those, I'm up money on the night because one's plus 130, the other's obviously plus 325. So, you know, that's what I'm thinking. I think the Islanders close it out. I think they get it done. And I think just the Bruins, like you said, I think they're a little too banged up.
Yeah. I was going to say, because I'm with you. I'm not, as far as taking the alternate line, I see the value in that for sure, though, because I think, you know, if they get down to that couple minutes left, they need a goal. They're going to pull their goalie in a must win. And you might skate out that little extra goal. But who knows? I think the Islanders are coming out tonight to seal the deal. Yeah. And that's why I'm taking that money line plus 120, a little bit of juice for you. I just think they're looking to get it done here tonight. And, I mean, minus 1.5, I might even sprinkle a half unit on that myself. I'm not going to put that out as a pick, but I might put that in for a little bit of juice.
So here's one thing that I've heard a couple people talk about now that I'm following a lot more people on YouTube and social media for all the sports gambling stuff, is you took the Islanders money line plus 120.
Yeah.
So that's, if it goes to overtime, you're still in it. You know, they just have to win the game.
They just have to win the game,
There's another bet that people have been kind of preaching, which I kind of like. And
which
I want to know your thoughts on it. The regulation. It's a 60-minute line is what they call it on FanDuel. So if you go to 60-minute line FanDuel, you can get the Islanders at plus 190.
Yeah.
So it gives you a little bit more juice, but then again, if the game goes to overtime, it's over.
What's the tie?
The tie is plus 290.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, what's tough now is like you're in the game 6 like mode. So it might be a little more defensive. It might be a little more clamped down. We're okay to go to overtime and just go, you know, try to win an OT. So
string it out anywhere we can.
But that is, you know, just talking with it. You know, this is why we do this podcast. It's just talk about these different lines, different ways to bet the game. So if you're not aware of it, you know, we're talking hockey for the first time. That's something that a lot of people are talking about. A lot of people are putting in. It's just the 60-minute line because you just get a little bit better odds. You get a plus 190 instead of plus 120.
Yeah. I've done that multiple times.
Yeah, and it always goes to overtime.
It always goes to fucking OT. I swear to God. Like, and I'm just like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not killing myself. What people should do in a smart gambling situation is if you do put like a 150 on, you know, Islanders straight money line. Yeah, it might not be a bad bet to hedge them with the tie. Okay. Because, you know, if they do go to overtime, you're not necessarily hedging it, but it's middling it. You know what I mean? In a way, like I wouldn't know why you would actually do this now that I'm thinking about it. But maybe if you're like me, where it's like every time you think about betting the regulation,
you're saying take the Islanders money line for the whole game, so you get the overtime as well, and you take the tie.
Yeah. But there's really no reason to do that then. But you could win both.
Yeah, you're hoping for an overtime win. It's a way to bet the overtime win. I don't know if there's a proper type of bet to specifically bet the Islanders win in overtime. But if not, that's a way to do it.
Exactly. So you at least, you know, fucking hedge yourself.
Parlay it and you're all set.
Yep, because you could do that. If you think the Islanders would cover regulation or it's going to be a tie, you could just bet both and you at least can get some money back if you lower the units on the tie.
Yeah, so I mean, it's nice. I mean, again, with all these bets, including hockey, any sport at this point with FanDuel, there's a million ways to bet it. You can bet just the first period spread.
Fucking right.
You can bet goals for individual players. You can just bet whether or not there's going to be overtime. You know, you can bet everything. Yes is plus 280.
Fuck.
You know, you can bet the exact score.
That's what I mean. You could fucking bet
Everything.
Everything at FanDuel. You could bet if there's going to be a fucking streaker or there's someone that throws a beer on the ice.
And that's
or
what
some
tying
shit.
back to the topic we had to start about the different sports book. Like,
Yeah.
once it becomes illegal and everyone can bet it remotely,
Yep.
you know,
In New York specifically.
you're
Yeah.
gonna have all these different casinos are gonna have to step up the options that they have because guys like FanDuel are gonna come in and give you every
sweep
option
the game.
under the sun. Yeah.
Yep. They're definitely. I was reading into it a little bit today. They're working on all like the regulations and stuff of who's going to do it. They're not doing a state ran one.
Good.
They are going to offer like people to come in and do it, but I think they're giving dibs at first for the land-based casinos to put theirs in. I'm pretty sure FanDuel has a casino in New York though, in Western New York.
Yep.
DraftKings does it as well, so
Yep.
they'll be here.
Yep.
Straight up, that's what's going to happen. There's going to be good competition in New York. But at the end of the day, it's going to be big for New York. They're going to gain a lot more money. Maybe our taxes will go down somehow because of it.
It'd be a beautiful thing.
Who the fuck knows?
All right, so I mean that's it for tonight. We talked Phoenix. We talked the Islanders.
Yep.
It's gonna be a good night of sports.
Ranked our sports books. We'd love to hear anyone else's input on their favorite sports book. So if you want to like, subscribe,
leave a comment.
Leave a comment. If there's a sports book in any of the surrounding states, New Jersey, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. We're trying to travel. Connecticut, Massachusetts. If
I don't think they have sports books though. Connecticut
Okay.
doesn't. Massachusetts doesn't.
Okay.
Rhode Island does.
Okay.
PA, New Jersey,
Yeah.
Delaware, Maryland just got it. So yeah, if there's any ones within that range, and you'd love to hear our review on it, and you guys feel confident that that'd be a top ranking, we'd love to pull up and see it and get our eye on it. So
all right, cool, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
Another good episode. Episode
Fucking
7
right.
in the books. We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, we'll see you then.